Where you going with this? Who you controlling with this? You think you got some nerve? Boy, say word. Cause I'm flowing with this. I think I'm growing with this. I think you knowing with this. I'm gonna show 'em with this. Hey you guys, it's your girl Taisha P back at you again with another podcast style video for Trusted Transformation Station. And I'm so happy you decided to tune in today. Here at Trusted Transformation, we believe that every day is an opportunity for evolution. And I'm so glad you decided to come on this journey and evolve with me. So without further ado, I'm going to get into today's video, talking points and everything. So what I wanted to talk about was something that I watched earlier that I was inspired by a creator on the YouTube platform. I've been watching her for years now. She's an anonymous creator, but brilliant nonetheless. And she decided to talk about B. Simone and her trending topic right now of friendship, and how she had a viral clip with her friend. And basically her friend was talking about how she was struggling and going through all these different things, and B. Simone didn't help her essentially, and just was kind of onlooking in a way, or maybe not even onlooking, but just seemed very removed from what the friend was going through, and how B. Simone in the midst of that was helping other people. And for those that don't know who B. Simone is, she's a comedian, she's a social media personality, podcaster, and overall influencer that has literally utilized the social media space to catapult her brand as an entrepreneur, and has made lots of money through her likeness. So being that she's had so much success in the space, a big part of the conversation around her and the friend was, why would you allow your friend to go through all these things when you have various resources, if not you yourself giving her something to work with, just people that you knew through what you're doing now, they can potentially help her. So the conversation really was going on about how in our lives, how people show up for us, and why friends may operate in a certain way. And how this inspired me based off what the creator I was watching was talking about. She basically was expounding upon how jealousy has become a silent epidemic, and it's something very common but rarely head on addressed. And oh yeah, that was something that was also touched on within the video, that after the friend was struggling, she finally started having wins. And in sharing those wins with B. Simone actually also had a bit of a smug response to her success, and then had to quickly recollect herself and apologize. But yes, going back to now my thoughts on it based off of what the creator was sharing, just talking about how jealousy has become a silent epidemic, and more people are becoming more envious by the day. People are watching other people's lives and taking on personal internal feelings about what a person has going on and making it about themselves, and just being very sneaky, behind the scenes, low key, just deep down, deep rooted, deep seated, covert in their feelings about the people around them, but aren't head on addressing it. And then these feelings are showing up in very passive aggressive ways. And this is something that I am no stranger to. I've had that experience where I've been genuine in my efforts in maintaining friendships, building friendships, and there were feelings that at some point I was made aware of, or just I can tell due to the passive aggressive moves that there were more than that meets the eye going on. And I've had to come to terms with that kind of smug behavior. And being honest, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel nice when you're dealing with someone that you have to question why they are behaving a certain way, why they may operate in ways that don't seem representative of their higher self. Because you don't want to believe that people that you have around you are showing up in a way that is to hurt you or to damage you. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. One moment. You don't want to believe that the people that you spend time with, sometimes a lot of time with, that they have these deep-seated feelings about you. And one thing I've had a realization for in this season of my life was I need to wake up from my own blindness of the energies that I keep around me. And it's not to say I don't want to hang out. I don't want to have fun. I don't want to be in spaces and places with the people I love, even if they have hurt me or there's an energy going on that I can't exactly read, because I do understand that people have different things going on. But you have to not be blind to what has already been revealed. Many times I have convinced myself that it isn't about me when somebody treats me a certain way. And in fact, it isn't. It's all about themselves. But at the same time, it's like, if you continue to make yourself available to be chipped away at, eventually you will become what you are avoiding. I don't want to be jealous, envious, hateful, vindictive. I don't want to gossip about people. And when you put yourself in the energy of being in a field where that is the conversation, that is the norm for those that you are dealing with, that is inevitable. And when you're trying to resist that, you have to also resist those that show up like that, that might be the people that you love the most. And it's unfortunate because it's not something you want to do, but it's something you have to do when you choose a path of elevation. I always knew, ultimately, I want to be a good person, a kind person, a person people can respect and look up to, a person that can influence change in the world. And I know that I can't be around people that bash others, that badmouth others, and feel comfortable. And I used to do that. I'm not sitting here acting like I'm no saint. I used to do that and make fun. I'll be honest. I used to laugh and get my good woo. Because one thing about me, I'm a very silly personality. So I know how to make anything a joke. But there were times where I literally laughed at people. And I'm not just talking about making a little kiki friendly banter. It was like, I know if this person heard me saying this, their feelings will be on the floor. Because it's just like, it could be humorous in the way that it's presented and said, but it can still be hurtful. And the more I've realized in behaving that way, how that was showing up in my own auric field, in sense of how I felt about myself deep down, because that was simply just a reflection of that. I realized, I was like, I gotta stop this. And then I also have to stop being around people that show up like this, or at least limit this, because it's not good. And it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel right. And it, in fact, is being fake. Especially when you go and try to hang around these people. It ain't right. It ain't right. And I feel like when you're on a journey of improving yourself and becoming your best version, there will be a Paul on the road to Damascus moment where you literally have to face that you have not shown up right in situations. And by right, I mean you've been backbiting, you've been nasty, you've been wrong. And it isn't about beating you down or making you feel bad, but it's about being honest with oneself. I've had to have those real moments of being honest with myself, because I knew that God was watching me destroy his children, and I was in participation with the destroying as well, with the destruction, the mental destruction, the verbal destruction. I'm not a person that's a fighter. So I use my words like swords. And I will, I can't even put words on it right now. I will, I will shadow box with the words, man. And it ain't right. It's not right. It's not right at all. Because when you know that you aren't supposed to be talking about people in a certain way, and you perpetually do it, you begin to take on the energy of the exact thing that you're talking about. And I've really had to distance myself from that type of energy, and I don't feel bad about it. And I know that some people may feel away, or may feel like I'm being this or I'm being that, or I think I'm too good. But I've just had the realization in this moment, there's certain things I cannot unsee about myself and about others. It's just plain and simple. Too many times I was over here trying to act like I didn't see certain things. I was trying to act like there were certain ways people were being that was normal, that was okay. And then when I got convicted, I started to feel uncomfortable. I didn't know how to respond to certain conversations, simply because I've had that realization, like, this really doesn't even have anything to do with me. When you know that gossip and slander and all things like that are ultimately wrong, you do begin to stop. And when you also realize that you want to really show up as your highest self in any room, because you know that is the path that you have dedicated yourself to, you don't want to sit here and talk like that about people, and feel like that about people. And you don't also want to, in a B. Simone's case, avoid helping those around you. I think one of the things that inspires me the most to be successful is being able to, at some point, help the people around me and them not having to worry about paying me back. And them not having to worry about giving me this and giving me that. But me just doing it because I love to help. And I want to be a person that those around me can rely on as a pillar. And what I mean by rely on, that nurturing spirit, that safe space where if you need something, I'm here for you. And I know it's a big mission and a big vision, but I also know that God will help me along the way. And God had to convict me by saying, you got to stop behaving in a way that's unbecoming. Because how can you help the sick, the broken, the needy, if you're talking about people in a way that, isn't representative of that? It ain't right. And I had to recognize that, honestly, as quiet as it kept, if somebody feels comfortable talking and behaving in a way about other people that they love or supposedly love that is unbecoming, and they have been in that person's space just as long as you, or maybe even shorter, maybe longer, whatever, what have you, what is to stop them from doing the same thing about you, to feeling the same thing about you at some point? You know how many opportunities that I've had that I've been blessed with, and people will purposely not say congratulations, and I've noticed they do the same thing with other people. Or if they do have a win, they try to downplay the win that the person had. And I had to realize, it's not surprising. They did the same thing to somebody else. Or they've tried to find a way to do that like same thing towards somebody else. In this season, when you're elevating, as quiet as it's kept and as sad as it might be, unfortunately, just like how leaves transition and fall so that new can come about, the same thing is inevitable when you're trying to build a new foundation in your life. People are going to have to fall away. People are going to have to watch you grow and shine and elevate, and sometimes not have a direct part in that experience, especially when they didn't give you the opportunity, and especially when they didn't help support you in getting there. And it's not about Xing people out, but it's about recognizing the positive influences and the covert haters, the ones that are on a negative time and negative energy, the ones that are consistently in victimhood mentality, that wallow in their misery and want you to roll down in the misery with them. The ones that you may love the most, but aren't ready to grow. And that you have to sometimes distance yourself so that you can lead by example. It's okay. Sometimes it's tough. But that's just real life. I've grown to understand that it's not about cutting people off, but it's about limiting access. Because when you understand that your energy is not only vital and essential and powerful, but it is very sensitive to the spirit. You can't just have any and everybody walking up and through. This is not that. The more I've been in solitude at this time in my life, the more I've recognized, oh wait, people just can't be in and out doing whatever they want when it comes to me. Oh no. And it's not because I'm bougie, I'm selective. My energy is very sensitive to the spirit. And I have no problem with saying that, because sensitivity is not a bad thing. It just means it is very essential that I'm aware of what is around me, or what I allow to be in my presence, what I allow to have influence on me, because it has a high chance of affecting me in ways that I may not even recognize until it already has happened. Because it can easily rub off in that way. It's not about saying I'm running away. It's not about hiding. It's not about none of that. It's about being aware. And when you have the awareness of who you are, you will have the awareness of what you let around you and what you allow to influence you. Because you don't want nobody or nothing to come into your space and take over your mind. You don't want nothing to come into your space and take over your spirit, take over your energy, drain you. When I tell you, I used to be on phone calls and I would get off the phone call drained, on E. Because I used to sit there and settle in the mess. And then there was a point in time where I realized I was doing that to others as well. I can acknowledge that. And I said, no, this cannot be my portion. This cannot be what I'm giving off, because that doesn't even read. Optimistic is not only it's not even a word enough to describe my core essence. So therefore, I cannot be in that type of space. I love being positive and spreading positive energy any and everywhere that I go, without asking for anything in return. So when I realized I was operating from that place of negativity and nastiness and bad mind, I'm like, no, I gotta check the influences. I gotta check the environment. And I've become now aware of when somebody's energy is not my own, and I'm operating from a place that is not of me, but it's about what has been injected into my spirit. So I just want to leave that with you guys. Be aware of the people that you have around you. Be aware of the people that you allow to call you friend, that you allow to call you family, that you allow to call you sis, bro, cousin, whatever. Because some things you can't unsee. And some things people will try their damnness to hide from you. But the energy never lies. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. You already know it's your girl, Taisha P. Signing out. Later, y'all.